Slumber. It has come, after all, the day I feared the most, the first day of a new school term. Episode 2! Alright, so this is new content now. Oh, yes! New schools, new teachers, and most importantly, new classmates, who I've always had trouble connecting with. Like most other kids with glasses, probably. I forced myself to get out of my warm bed. Dad would usually drive me to my old school, but this morning, the bedroom of my parents was silent. Did they sleep in? Maybe it was a good thing. I didn't want to get the daddy boy reputation from day one. My parents were probably still tucked in, dreaming about the good old days when everything was so simple and easy. Sweet dreams, even as if far removed from reality. I silently sneaked out to the first floor so I wouldn't wake anybody up, especially the peacefully sleeping Olia. I did my best to step in the middle of every floorboard. I used to play like this even in our old apartment. If my stools touched the space between the floorboards, it counted as stepping into lava. The clock was spurring me on with its hands. I need to hurry. Faster, faster. I was too fast, so I needed to circle the hallway once again. Boiling lava was bursting out in the cracks between the floorboards. I needed to watch my step to survive at any cost. Hippity hop like a frog jumping on molehills, like a fearful bunny in a grove full of wolves. I made a sandwich in the kitchen, shoved it down my throat, and drank it down with cold tea. Come on, I want to do the thing. No, the phone number is gone. So I think when Mom was distracted, we needed to go back in the kitchen and grab the phone number for our drawer. And now it's gone. My appetite was as good as of someone being led to the scaffold toward a guillotine. I lowered my gaze and saw that one of my feet was standing on 2 floorboards at the same time. Burnt to a crisp, huh? I moved my foot. Disgusting little snakes writhed in my belly, the fear of getting hit and being called nasty names. The clock ticked. I need to go. No, I wanna do the thing. It was dark outside, fitting for an early winter morning. I'm not... What? No, I'm not walking to school. This darkness never fully left the house around here. I took my time tying my shoes, buttoning up the puffy down jacket, trying to delay my unpleasant exit into the semi-dark, into the unnerving unknown. Have I actually looked at a clock? Because I bet it's only like 3 in the morning. And I'm just like, oh yeah, it's time for school. I rubbed my glasses for good luck. Sorry, though I couldn't remember a single time that these thick pieces of glass brought me any good fortune. The sky was akin to a giant bruise. On the east side, a black cloud was swelling up. It licked the stars from the sky and extinguished the rising sun. Darkness was plastered all over the treetops. The cautious cries of birds got tangled up in the thicket. I locked the front door with a long key that I wore around my neck. My parents made me wear this noose, afraid that I, being a total klutz that I am, could lose the key otherwise. What is running? What is running near us? The wind was whizzing around outside of the gate. It invited me into my new life, for dubious adventures, and tagged alone like an old buddy, pushing me in the back. Wide shadows that pines threw out covered a third of the clearing. Upon reaching the edge of the forest, I hid my nose in the coat's collar, and I was squeezing through the thin fire brick, my hair ruffled up and my back hunched over. The tall trees stood on both sides of the tiny trail. The snowy blanket rustled under my feet, and the canopy of intertwined branches above my head cut me off from the already sparse starlight. The night had no plans of moving away from the forest. Do I even know where the school is? In this darkness, trees reminded me of a shaggy old woman that smelled of burial earth. Their trunks turned into cracked, wrinkled faces with holes in the middle of their mouths. If I lost focus even for a moment, mold-covered witches would drag me into the forest depths. Then my parents would be walking around these parts screaming my name. But the dead can't answer the living. Or can they? A sense of panic was growing in my chest. I was fine with Dad carrying me into school with his hands by now if it saved me from watching the darkness rise up in the ravines like black dough. I felt like someone jumped into the bushes behind me, so I turned around. As soon as I was walking faster, I heard the snow squeak behind me. The forest took a deep breath with its giant lungs. The windfall cracked. The wind and the birds were left behind in the fields, and now I could only hear the forest creak. I walked, listening closely, and the unseen presence grew stronger, as if someone was following me, trying to match the pace of my footsteps. I turned my head so fast it made my neck crunch. The tiny trail behind me disappeared into the darkness. Tree branches overlapped, forming a natural tunnel. "Who's there?" The question escaped my lips and dissolved into the unending creaking sound of the wooden idols, the pines around me. Why did I think going through the forest alone was a good idea? I'm either going mad, or someone had intentionally lured me away from home. You're walking to school, right? Distant lights granted me a smidgen of hope. A country road. I ran there as fast as I could, as if afraid that the trail would shrink. Clawed hands will grip me by the shoulders, turn me around, and make me look at the faces of hungry forest denizens. In the end, nobody stopped me. I almost flew to the decrepit wooden bridge, disbelieving my luck. The bridge supports bathed in a spring, tarry, and ice cold. I put my hands on my knees and looked up at the forest, then snorted, trying to calm my breathing. The thicket was pretending to be asleep. It looked peaceful, lifeless. The remaining part of my commute lied through a snow-laden road, illuminated by sparse lamplights. I chased away bad thoughts and was trying to run from one round area light to another as fast as I could, seeking protection from electric lamps. Just like in that game, where you need to be the first to proclaim, "I'm protected." Alright, this one I'm really lost on. So we have Field of Wonders, a Soviet and Russian TV game show, still running to this day, coming out every Friday, can be described as partially adapted version of Wheel of Ocean. Tag, a kid's game where one player needs to tag other players by touching them with their hand, making them it. In certain zones, it normally called the ghoul, players can stay safe from tagging. Wait, so like safe zones? And it's not like in certain areas, it is called ghoul. I think they're talking about like certain areas are safe zones, okay. It's just in this case that protection was flimsy at best, with darkness writhing outside its bounds. I noticed something remarkably eerie. In a place where the light of an inclined lamp couldn't reach, a hairy, crooked shadow came alive with a guttural roar. It felt almost like its features deterred light, and its unnatural pose was frightening. My eyes almost popped out of their sockets as I just stood there, blinking, trying to chase away that illusion. But the shadow didn't disappear, and even got closer. My insides were gripped by horror. I stepped back and almost fell in a snow pile. It's just someone in a fursuit, probably a girl. That's what I sound like in the morning. The black silhouette, on the other hand, straightened up and addressed me in a sweet voice. "Sneaking around, huh? Trying to steal my soul?" Oh, they think we're a monster too. Words got stuck in my throat. Who would be talking in such a silky voice here? between the forest and the dormant village. Will you say something, dummy? The cat got your tongue? All right, I'll bite off your nose then. I'll teach you not to poke in places it doesn't belong. A girl stood before me, judging from the voice and silhouette. But I couldn't even reprimand myself for getting scared by a girl when I saw a gaping mouth under the hood and something dangerously shiny in it. I was stunned. Wait. A mask? From the cavity of her hood, a frightening real fox face was staring straight at me. It's just her jaws weren't moving and the eyes weren't blinking. A mask? It's just a girl with a fox mask on. At least I wanted to think that. After a surprise like that, a nervous smile involuntarily crept onto my face. I was just going to school, and then you... What about me? Never seen a fox feed a dog? And indeed, there was a small dog circling the girl's legs. One of the strays that were chasing me yesterday, probably. Sorry, I didn't mean to. After hearing my voice, the dog whimpered, lowered its ears, sniffed me out, and started wagging its tail. I guess I still smell a bologna I ate for breakfast. I was shifting my gaze back and forth from the girl to the dog, and she didn't seem scary anymore. That's weird. So, you didn't mean to, huh? What's your name? I'm Anton. And you? And I'm not. Oh, there's her eyes. She's weird. Definitely has a couple of loose screws. But she has a nice voice. My astonishment. Ooh, I need another cup of coffee. My astonishment has turned to a mix of happiness and relief. This girl I didn't know was definitely human, if a bit eccentric. I was also a bit angry at myself. This foxy girl was walking through the darkness without a problem, and I shuddered from every little sound. I could have just went ahead, but this girl had piqued my interest. The next time a police officer asks me about my friends of the new place, I'll tell him that I befriended a talking fox. Do you live around here? In the village? The fox giggled and purred. She spun around so hard that the hem of her coat lifted up. No, dummy. Foxes don't live in villages. So you live in the forest, then? Have you been living under a rock? It's obvious that foxes can't survive anywhere near humans, as long as they're foxes. Her jokes were also weird. Just like her carnival mask. Paper mache with fur glued onto it. The dog reminded of its existence with a loud bark. I unfastened my backpack. Dad would sometimes throw food in there without my knowledge. Cookies, apples, or even my favorite crab stick. Crab sticks! He called it a gift from the bunny. Alright, now I gotta know. Treats from the bunny, an uneaten part of a business lunch or a treat specifically bought for children. Parents would tell their children that a bunny asked them to deliver said treat, but it could also be any other animal, a squirrel, or a bear, for example. Alrighty then. The stray strolled towards me with mincing footsteps, with a pleading look in its eyes. The fox did definitely treat it to something, but it was probably still hungry. Why do you dress like this so early in the morning? Going to a costume party? The girl shrugged, throwing silvery snowflakes off her nose and her human form along with them, turning into a genuine beast, a real fox, agile, cunning, dangerous. The moment of hesitation, you'll be ripped to shreds. She'll tear you up and gulp you down without breaking a sweat. I couldn't help but just stand there as a stump. Until I heard her calm, melodic laughter hidden underneath the beastly mask. I wish you could have seen your own mask, sweetie. Did she say sweetie? I got embarrassed. Went red up to my hair roots. We'd seen a fox in the zoo once. We went there with Dad, but it had patchy fur, was gray and skinny. But this girl was of fiery color and furry, just like in fairy tales. I was still rummaging through my backpack. My fingers, they were looking for the food for the dog, felt something soft and crumpled. You'll see. The real beasts will wake up soon. You should ask them where they got their human faces. The girl's shadow was dancing in the lamp's light. The dog yapped in agreement. I dropped my finding onto the snow from the surprise without getting a proper chance to examine. Do I have a mask now? The cold wind instantly covered the edge of the hole it created in the snow. The dog rushed to dig it out, probably thinking it was a treat. And the fox just snorted. Now I was so embarrassed I wanted to sink through the snow. It was still dark outside of the electric circle. On the contrary, the darkness seemed even more thick. All neighboring houses were sleeping deeply in its inkiness. I did my best to continue the conversation with the weird girl I didn't know. So, are you going to school? Oh my, you are a real dummy. Don't you get it? Well, I was trying to be friendly, but she can't stop mocking me, calling me a dummy and all. I should have just moved along without paying attention to the weirdo and her stupid dog. Why are you so mean? Don't answer if you don't want to. It's not like I care. Still, something froze me in place, tugged me toward the dark figure. A mysterious appearance, her voice that all was velvety and just languid enough. I was intrigued and excited. I watched her as people watch fires burn. Aw, stop pouting. Look here. Zuka took a liking to you. The dog was digging the snow with sharp movements, snoring loudly. The fox turned around, looking at the windows of a nearby house as its timbering front through the white mist. The tip of her fake nose was shining under the lamp's light. And maybe someone else too. I went red again, like a boiled crawfish this time. Is she talking about herself or someone else? I hoped that the semi-dark would be able to hide my embarrassment from the girl. I cleared my throat before asking, and who's that person? I waited, counting my heartbeat. The fox didn't reply. Her sly stare was scanning the frosty patterns of someone's windows. She was reading them like a glass book. I wonder what she can see in those winter paintings. The stray stopped rummaging through the snow. It ran to me, holding my object in her jaws, a mitten. Could it be the one that I found in the forest? What was it doing here? And when I looked closer, I realized it was just my mitten. Maybe Mom stuffed it in there when I was asleep? A certain lost boy immediately came to mind. Hey, do you know anything about Vova? I imagined the scene, silhouettes dancing in the clearing. The dance on the night when Vova had disappeared. A boy who, when found, can provide a big reward and maybe save my family. I remembered my birthday, when my parents promised to take me and Olia to Disneyland in Paris. But instead of a long-anticipated gift, they gave me a simple brick game console, visibly embarrassed. I was crying my eyes out and demanded to take me to the promised amusement park. It was the first time when Mom and Dad had a big fight. My greediness shattered their relationship. If only I could fix everything, gather everybody I love and take them to Disneyland. Well, the night Vova had disappeared, I think I saw someone looking like you dancing under my window. It couldn't be true, but I felt like her mask became even more sly. The fox was sniffing me out. Oh, that got you worried? For yourself or for someone else? Olia. As soon as I thought about my sister, my chest tightened and a cold sweat started running down my spine. Well then, listen closely, a boy named Antone. This is a big and scary forest. The foxy made a decisive step forward. And I'm not its only tenant. The other beasts already know about you. Beware, we'll come see you again this night too. I shouldn't have talked to this evil in child form, I thought, panicking. While both you and your parents are asleep, we'll sneak to your side and dance. Something like Macarena. Huh? Hey. Just look at your mouth is agape, Tosha. You saw me near his window at night? Yeah, right. Are you maybe not right in the head? Nobody would let me go outside this late. Children go missing here, you know. I touched the plastic frame of my glasses, puzzled by her silly joke. She got me scared to death. Hey, why don't you stop fondling your glasses? I was so nearsighted once. Listen to me, and maybe you'll become smarter. Remember, what do they call foxes? Cunning? My words seemed to hurt her. Hey, what did you... I'm sorry. Girl laughed with a voice of two jingling silver bells. Just pulling your leg. I can't get a grip on this girl at all. Of course we're cunning. If you're agile and brave enough to befriend a cunning fox, I'll help look for your Voya. There's a reason why you're doing it, right? I shrugged in reply. Her insight was alarming. I know why children have been swarming our forests recently. Because you can find a lot of interesting stuff here. One day, I saw a huge pile of candy once, and I swam in it until my jaws cramped. A pile of candy? I couldn't deduct from whether she believed in what she was saying from her tone of voice. I showed her another smile, a fake one this time. Ooh, so wary. Well, what do you say to this then? Turbo! She held out her hand in a fur mitten. In her palm was an assortment of sweets. In the city, where I lived previously, sweets like this could only be sold in markets or kiosks. Alright, while we're here, I know what a kiosk is, but it's small container type shops selling a wide assortment of products, from bubblegum to vodka, clothing, or even home appliances. These types of shops were popular in 90s Russia and more often than not tied to criminal organizations. Okay. Didn't anticipate that last part. I saw my favorite bubblegum and a vivid wrapper among the tasty treasure. A familiar name was on it. Turbo. The fox's triangular face nodded at me. Take some. My pockets are full of these. Yeah, I'm not gonna refuse. I'll take it. Thank you. I accepted the treat, catching the whiff of the girl's scent. She smelled of fur, firework smoke, and citrus. The aroma of a holiday. Dang! My fingers were tingling as I unwrapped the gum with care. Peachy aroma entered my nostrils. There was something else too, something unknown but pleasant. The fruity cube ended up in my mouth. I didn't realize I was going to eat it immediately. I started moving my molars, chewing the gum. It tasted like your usual Turkish gum, only my tongue went a bit numb. I couldn't believe my luck after opening the insert. I looked at the Mercedes-Benz, an extremely rare and hence desirable collector's item for any boy from my previous neighborhood. Well, that's cool. My heart skipped a beat. I was barely able to tear my eyes off the insert, so stunned. This is... Now do you see what can be found in the forest? Still, I wouldn't go there alone if I were you. You get so flustered over a simple bubblegum after all. Imagine what would happen if you find a travel case worth of these. It'll surely blow your mind. Unusual treats, just like everything else about her. I carefully hid the insert in my bag as if putting a rare butterfly in a can. The fox giggled. This is not how things are supposed to go on a Monday morning. Who are you? I refrained from asking that question. She wouldn't answer anyway, or she'll just lie. I really want to see what's behind her mask. I was becoming more and more sure that underneath it wasn't just a simple young girl. Oh, it started snowing. What if Ova also found a pile of snow with sweets and is now rolling in it? Actually, what if he decided to stay in the forest? He must be so cold without his second mitten then. We didn't say that. We didn't tell her about the mitten. The wind caught her words like smoke from a fire and carried them deep into the darkness, into the creepy thicket. The trees behind me creaked with their bony branches. Or what if something happened to him along the way? Something terrible. The forest answered to her words, becoming alive. It sniffed me out, perking up its ears just like a curious beast. The fox pierced me with the same stare. Wild beasts? You find that terrible? Well, I don't know. He doesn't know? Oh my, have I befriended a dunce? I don't like being called an F student, but the fact she said that we were friends reassured me. My grades are good. Really now? Will you come with me? Good grades, Anton. We'll find your Vova, and you'll ask him what he found in the forest. Nothing can harm you here while you're with me. You'll see. Worms of worry writhed in my belly. Better run, whispered my mind. I don't believe you. Do you take me for a liar? Whatever, you're just like everybody else. The girl sounded hurt, though I didn't know if she was genuine about it. The fox turned her back to me, as if she lost all interest in me for a second. The gum felt bitter now. I remembered my dad's favorite phrase. Where are your manners, son? Indeed, this fox was kind to me. Please, don't get mad. Foxes can also be nice, like in fairy tales. I just need to know what kind of fox you are. The girl giggled, holding the nose of her mask in her hands. Then follow me into the forest and you'll get to know me. But not right now, when it gets bright. I mean, your whole body is shaking, you poor thing. I don't want you to get a stroke. Hey, let me accompany you to school. After hearing this, the dog barked in agreement and stopped messing with the mitten. I leaned in, trying to grab the piece of handwear that almost ran away from me. Well, if we're going in the same direction. I went towards school and the lost dawn. Here and there, the lights came on in the windows of houses we passed, as if the inhabitants were sending us warning signs. Silhouettes lurked behind curtains. Dogs would let out an occasional bark. Spirals of gray smoke rose from the chimneys. TVs bustled in kitchenettes, and the dishes were ringing. We watched the village slowly rise from its slumber, while carefully treading the snowy wheel trails. I took the left, the girl, the one on the right, and the dog was following right behind us. I expected the fox to bring up something weird again, but she was being silent all the way, as if playing some game only she was privy to with me. She would only giggle from time to time when the dog sneezed from the snowflakes that fell on its nose. I was the first to break the silence. So what's your name? Here it comes. Names, names, names. You people always need to put labels on everything. What name would you give to a fox like me? I don't know. But I've read about Elisa the fox. You know what? I don't mind. I'll be Elisa. I couldn't understand if she was joking or not. I turned around, as if looking for an answer from a dog, from a dark sky without the tinge of dawn. My silent questions were left unanswered. The school's outline was all